Hey there, hi, out in live Facebook land. This is Charlotte, and we are with the Profitable Farm Facebook group. Thank you for being here today. Really excited to have everyone. It's straight up 10 o'clock, and I always like to chat for a couple minutes until we get some people on here live, which will start showing up soon. And so if you're watching this afterwards, of course, you can just check in later. So I see someone. Is that you, Hayden?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't count if it's your own family. So we have lots of questions about events. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is give you kind of an overview, but I want to wait because I know there will be a couple more people showing up. So some of the events we do on our farm, over the years, we've done different things. We've done cheese classes. That's probably where we started. We do farm tours. We do children's camps. We do teenage camps. Thank you, everyone who's showing up live and checking in now. Thank you. I can see you popping up there. I can't see who it is, though, so hit like as you're watching this so I know there's people there. And as usual, if you have any questions as we go through this any time this morning, type them down in the chat box or the comment box below, and we will answer some of those questions too. So all about events. We've done just everything, and there's things I've learned over the years that have made them much better and profitable. But I want to give the overall view first of an event. So a few things to keep in mind is I think the main thing that people don't pay attention to always is the event needs to it needs to complement or coordinate with your products you sell. So there needs to be a purpose for the event that is around your products. So if you are raising grass-fed beef and you're going to have just a random, picnic day or something, and you're going to charge people for it, then you're going to make money at that one event, and then it's going to be over. And so what I recommend instead is think of your end product, and you want to get people there to buy that product and also to be customers for life. So if you're holding a soap making class at your farm and you're going to invite people to make soap, but you sell raw milk and eggs and you don't sell soap, you don't sell any, you got the tallow from a friend, you don't have any of those ingredients, you're just holding that class, maybe a friend asked you to or something, that's not really good for your big picture, and it's not going to help you build a sustainable, profitable farm. So I've seen a lot of farms having essential oil classes lately, and I guess maybe some of them were selling essential oils, but that wasn't their main business. So make sure the event you're having somehow ties in to the products or services you sell at the farm, so that you're spending all this time and energy building customers for life, or at least for the future, not just that day. So the other thing that's really important is make sure the event you're holding or the class you're going to teach is something people want, they're asking you for, or they're clamoring, or they're wondering, they're sending you emails. You have evidence proving that people want to know this information. This is a huge mistake I see farmers make all the time, is they tell me, I'm going to teach this class on, well, let's see, someone mentioned one, can't remember.
Oh, meal prep?
No, there was a class, if you go through the comments, someone mentioned they're going to teach a course on something, and it made me, the way she wrote it made me think, actually if you could find that, that would be really important. That she wasn't being asked about doing that.
Husbandry?
Animal husbandry. Yes. Who was that?
Laura Cunningham.
Okay. So Laura Cunningham asked, she wants to teach a class on animal husbandry and invite the press, right? And all that. Well, are your customers clamoring for a course on animal husbandry? Because mine aren't. So I deal with lots of people all over the U.S., and I really don't have people ask for those types of classes, but in the way you wrote it made it sound like it's something you wanted to teach, Laura, but you're going to have a hard time filling a class that people are not clamoring for or asking for, or an event. So make sure It's something that people are asking for. This goes back to also something Shauna Barr brought up in the comments, is identifying your ideal customer. So when you have a farm, you should know who your ideal customer is, down to the, very nitty-gritty detail of that one singular person, so that you have that person in mind when you're creating a class for them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is something we go in depth extensively in our courses. I have another course opening up in about 2 weeks, and we spend a lot of time on identifying your ideal customer, because it doesn't make sense to create an event without that person in mind. You've got to have some ideal customer in mind: her likes, her values, her beliefs, her desires, her hobbies, her dreams, her preferences. You need to create the event with that person in mind, not just that you want to teach something, that your customers or the public somehow is clamoring for that class or event. And then, the first thing I said, that it works in with your products that you sell too. So ideal customer, and so I've just some examples. I've had people say that they were offering a course on how to butcher chickens because that's what they do, and nobody showed up. Well, again, our customers come to us to buy chickens because we've already butchered them and they're in a little plastic bag and they're, they can take it home and cook it, not because they want to learn to butcher chickens. So I would never offer that class, even though we have, hundreds of people who shop here. It wouldn't be a class that would be profitable for us. So let's see. The other important thing that you really need to be prepared when you're planning on offering events or classes in the future is you have to have a really engaged customer list in order to fill those classes. So let me explain what it looks like on our side. And again, these are things we spend hours on in our course we teach. So you'll learn how to build an engaged customer list. But we also have free tools on our website teaching you how to get started and get that set up for free. So when you have an engaged customer list, I send out emails twice a month to my list. I get tons of comments. I get emails back. I get clicks on the website. They share it with their friends. They engage in conversation with us about it. They come to our store and shop. They call, they email. So if I send an email to 1,400 people, we're going to get hundreds of people engaging with that email twice a month. So that is a very, okay, Hayden's taking care of the comments. So that is that's what's called an engaged customer list. If you're sending out an email and nobody is, 1% of the people are responding or emailing or commenting or calling or showing up, or, very small percentage, that's not an engaged list. So you don't have enough engagement to fill a class efficiently and effectively. So you've got to back up from holding, if you're going to want to hold a class, why don't you start, it would be better to start engaging your customer list now and hold the class next summer, and then it'll fill just like that. All right, the other thing with that is what I see people doing is holding classes that maybe 3 months from now, and they're advertising it now, and they continue to advertise that course until it's full, or the class or the event or the open house. So what you create when you do that is boring people who are bored seeing your information to the point they start to ignore it. So if you just start marketing your class, your event, announcing it, putting flyers out for weeks and weeks, even 4 weeks or more, you're going to create boredom and stagnancy, and people won't do that, or won't participate. When you have an engaged customer list, what I do is, I even wrote down my timeline here, is I start emailing them maybe 6 weeks before I have a class or an event or a farm tour. And I email them, and I don't tell them to register anything. I say, 6 weeks from now on this date, we'll have a farm tour. And then in the next email, I send my list. I talk about the farm tour, maybe 5 weeks before. Then 4 weeks before the farm tour or the cheese class or the camp or anything, 4 weeks before, I open registration. They get an email with a link to a PayPal tab so they can sign up. They pay for it, and that registration is open for 1 week only. Same with my courses here on 3 Cow Marketing. There's a psychological reason I have a very limited registration period. What that does for your class or your event is it creates a sense of urgency. If for 3 months you're advertising an event at your farm, there's no sense of urgency. They think they'll get to it later, and by the time later comes, they're bored with seeing your information. They don't even see it anymore. It's stagnant. So you'll have a hard time filling that up. So starts with an engaged customer list of your ideal customers. You're engaged means you're emailing them every 2 weeks. You let them know about the event. You start to talk about it 6 weeks before, talk about it a little more 5 weeks before. 4 weeks before, you open up registration for 1 week. You sell out. You fill the class. This is what we do, and this is what you can get to quickly in the future. And then you close it, and you're not talking about that event anymore because you will bore people. So now you've got your class people, your event people that have signed up that you're engaging with about the event, but you're not boring the rest of your audience with that event. When you do that, there's a sense of, when you advertise it for weeks or months, there's this sense of desperation too that comes through. Since we're on that level, kind of the energy level, you also need to create an event or a class with giving in mind. It has to be created where you're thinking of the spirit of giving, not desperation, not I'm going to go bankrupt if I don't fill this cheese class, because that will come through in your marketing. People will sense that. It's a subconscious thing, but they sense, and it turns people off. And I get emails like this from farmers all the time, so make sure you're not doing this. I got one maybe a year ago from a farmer we bought a turkey from years ago, so I was still on their email list. And they said, "Where have you guys gone? Why aren't you shopping at our store? We're going broke because nobody's shopping here." And it was a terrible email. It put a terrible feeling on me. I deleted it. I didn't even want it in my inbox. And it's not uncommon that I get emails from people or from farmers, surrounding events that say, you need to sign up now, you need to pay now, or and it's just an icky feeling. So when you do it in the format I said first, have an engaged list and let them know the event is coming, open registration for 1 week, close it, and then hold the event. It's positive. It builds excitement. It builds a sense of urgency. They know it's going to go away, so they sign up right away. You're done, and then 4 weeks before the event that it's full. Psychologically, you can go on to getting ready for the event and move away from trying to have to fill the event. You don't want to be thinking about filling the event when you're thinking about how to set up for the event and how many volunteers you're going to need or helpers you're going to need. You have 4 weeks to plan that. I say 4 weeks. It could be 3, it could be 5, depending on the event. So that's how I advertise most of our events and market them, is like 6 weeks ahead of time, mention we'll have them. 5 weeks, build excitement, tell them that registration will open in a week. We open registration for a week and we're done. And then the event is 3 weeks later, except for our farm camp for kids, because again, it depends on the event. Our audience for our farm camp, which is held in July, those mothers are making their kids' summer camp plans in March and April, I've learned. So in March, I engage my customer list about farm camp and say, I know you're thinking about summer events and family vacations and summer plans. Registration for our farm camp will be open in 1 week, and it'll be open for 1 week only. I open that registration typically around April 1st, and it's full within 24 hours. So I hold it open for a week, but it's usually closed after 24 hours because I've done everything to create that sense of urgency. Now, the thing that's really good, and this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, is March and April and February, March and April are a hard time on our farm and many farms because the animals aren't being butchered till fall, the bulk of them. So we're getting our money in fall, the fall, but in the spring we're buying thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars worth of animals and more equipment and feed. So that farm camp selling out, that's a big chunk of cash in March that helps me even out the cash flow throughout the year. So the other thing is the timing of your events could be so that it helps, that's why I really am a proponent of events on the farm because they help even out that cash flow issue that I think we all have on a farm because it's seasonal. Not only is it seasonal, but sometimes, our beef cows, they don't go to market for 18 months or 2 years. So, we're putting in all these inputs, cash and labor that we don't get till 2 years from now. So those events can help even that out. The events that we've held have been a big part of our success in building a profitable farm, which is where we're at today, because it brings people out to the farm that may not have otherwise come. They wouldn't come to buy a dozen eggs, but they will come to a cheese class, and then they meet me in person. They have so much fun at the cheese class, and they love the feel of community and the friends they make. So then they're a regular customer, and all of a sudden they're driving out to our farm once a month to buy milk and eggs and meat, which they wouldn't have just randomly come out. But the feeling around the event and the excitement made them want to be a customer. So I'm going to get into some questions because I see them. Oh, did I just answer you? Can you comment on your goals for hosting event to make money on the event itself? Oh, yes. So let me go a little more into that, Shauna. No, my goal for the event itself is not to make money in that moment. My goal is always, and maybe you weren't here right at the beginning, which many of you have come on after I talked for a little bit. When you plan an event, it should be a big picture goal for the farm. If it's a very short event that's, you're going to have a soap making class today, even though you sell nothing to do with soap, but you're going to have a soap making class and charge a little bit of money per person, and that's it. That's like open and closed. The door is shut. It wasn't related to the farm. They didn't learn about your wonderful meat products or eggs or raw milk. So they come, they make soap, they leave. You could never see them again, and that's all the money you've made. And I'm sure most of you, if you've done events, the event just doesn't happen that day. I spend a week getting ready for events, sweeping and cleaning. The day of the event, I have to make sure my kids are all farmed out so they aren't interrupting. I can't do my regular farm chores the day of the event, so I have to either make sure I've hired people or have other people taking care of those things. So know that when you do an event or a class, you must have the big picture of the farm in mind. How is this going to benefit? Ultimately, how is this going to make us money? Now, I also just commented a little bit ago that you have to do it in the spirit of giving, that you're giving something to people. It can't be all about give me money. But there has to be there's a delicate balance that you must keep in mind. The event, you're giving something to people, but it has to profit the farm some way. And for us, it's getting them to either get on our email list or become a customer. Now, where it's come to today is, Shauna says, amen, sister, a week of earth. Yes, you need someone to make dinner for me. I know. So, on the events, here we are on a farm with farm fresh food, and Friday night before my Saturday events, we're ordering pizza because we're too busy, and then our stomachs hurt. It's like, wow, this is a crazy life. We're doing this to give an event for people, but we're compromising our values. So when you give an event, make sure that you do it, you're charging enough that you can get enough help so that you can still not sacrifice yourself and your own values. Yeah, you get it. Okay, did I miss any questions in the feed there? I know, I'm always afraid when I scroll on these questions, I'm going to end the video. So thank you for... Oh, Shauna, this is a good time. Shauna says, love your necklace. So Hayden, this is a good time to say it's my daughter Hayden's birthday. Happy 23rd birthday. Come say hi. I know, but this is a commercial break. So it's Hayden's birthday. She's 23, which makes me 39, right? And so we're going out to lunch after this, which is why I'm a little more dressed up than usual. So that's why. Caitlin, oh, okay. Hi, okay, great. Ashley Jessup, hi, back to you. Red Hills Farms, hi. I want to thank you, everybody, for being here. And now everyone's saying happy birthday to Hayden. Okay, Peter Bartlett, the timeline concept was very helpful. Thank you, Peter. I'm going to have this video also transcribed and put it in a blog post, so that timeline, and you may adjust that timeline to your needs, but that works really well for me overall keep that timeline in mind. And let's see
Peter just called.
what Peter says. How about creating events that feature a customer's expertise or bringing an expert from somewhere else? Yes, if that relates to your big picture on your profitability of your farm. So back to my soap making. If you're a goat, if you do make soap because you're a goat dairy and you use, what do they, I don't, goat's milk to make soap, and you bring in an expert to make soap, what you're going to do is people will pay for the class and they will get expertise there, but you're going to sell out on goat's milk and you're going to have a wait list for your goat's milk. So yes, bring in an outside expert if it fits towards your big picture goal. And but if you're bringing in a customer who, we have customers that are experienced in all sorts of things. If you're bringing in for instance, I have customers who own CSAs because we don't do vegetables. So to bring in a person from a CSA and teach a course at our farm on how to map out the perfect garden does not fit in with our big picture profitability, because that's a class that will make a little bit of money right there, but it wasn't worth the week of effort. I won't get customers off of it. That person with the CSA sure will, but we won't, because they aren't, they're coming to a gardening class. They aren't getting information on the products we sell. So yes, bring in experts if it works towards your bigger picture. And then also, if I don't get to your question, I'm going to pop in later and answer in the comments, because I think this could be like I could do an all day or an all weekend course just on how to hold events. Okay, so Shauna said happy birthday. Jerica, thank you. Hi, thanks for your question. How do you plan well for a first time event? This is a great question, because I would not run out and plan an event for 20 people or 50 or 100 or even 10 people. I'll explain what I did. When I was going to start teaching cheese classes, I knew how to make cheese, and people were asking me, they were clamoring for cheese making classes. Well, I didn't just hold a class for 10 people. I had 2 people over. They didn't pay me a dime. It was actually my cousin and her husband. They came over and we made cheese. And as we were making cheese in the kitchen together, I was making mental notes of, okay, if this was a class, I would need to do this and this. I need handouts. I need written recipes. So I learned how to create the class from those 2 people. Then I had 5 people. And I worked out my mistakes on a small group before we worked up to, we limited all our cheese classes to 15 people, because everybody made cheese. Everybody had a pot of cheese. Any more than that was not good. And that brings a good point of, I went to one of the first cheese classes I ever took was a lecture. 40 of us were sitting in chairs, and there was a guy up on behind a counter making cheese. It was terrible, awful class. So you need to keep in mind, is the class going to help people learn? So a lecture on cheese making, where you're sitting there watching a guy who had no notes, no handouts, no nothing, was not going to teach most of us how to make cheese. It was a huge waste of time and money to sit there and watch him do it. That needs to be something that is interactive. So make sure your class is appropriate that way. So Jerica, back to your question. To plan well for a first-time event, I would start small. If you're going to do a farm tour, have a farm tour for one family, 2 people, give them a tour and think, wow, if I were going to have 20 people, I would do this and this and this. We always limit our classes, whatever they are. They each have a different limit on them. And that is because our farm is all about engaging. Our customers spend more money here the more personal relationship they have with me. So I will never do a farm tour for 50 people, because that'll be a waste of my energy, resources, employees, the week getting ready for it. Because those 50 people will not connect with me one-on-one, which means they don't get on our email list. They'll just come, quick farm tour, they'll leave. So I limit my classes and events to a number where I can engage with each person individually, which for me is about 15 people. Do I make less money that day? Yes. But big picture, long term, those 15 people are back the next week, filling, for the most part, almost everyone in our events becomes customers. And you know, when they're buying meat, that means they're spending 50, 100, 200. It's nothing to have a farm tour and someone will come in and buy a quarter beef, you know, spend $800 or $900 pop right then, because I've had a small enough group that I engage with them. Okay, so I want to get through some more of these questions here. How do you calculate ticket cost? Anna Mayfield says. And hey, Anna, she's an alumni of our course. Well, it's always going on. So she's a student in our course. Ticket cost is something, again, I kind of do it as I did the planning of the events. I start out, you want to learn from them, learning on how to have the event. So do it for free at first. And then as you build experience, my first, like I said, I did a cheese class for 2 people. Then I think my first cheese class I charged $45 for. After the cheese class, it was like, wow, that was not worth it. I hardly made a thing. Yes, I sold out on raw milk, but we were going to sell out anyway. And so and that was fine. I learned my lesson. The next cheese class was $55. And again, and then by the time we quit, our cheese classes some of them were $150. So a ticket cost, start out, you kind of have to go by feel. You start out with a price and you can go up or down from there. And that's the beauty of opening registration for your event 4 weeks before or so, closing registration, you're done. And if you're planning 6 months worth of events and you're advertising 6 months worth of events, which I don't want to see on your website, then you're locked into those ticket prices. The beauty of being an entrepreneur and a small business person is you can wake up one day and say, wow, that is too cheap for a cheese class. I'm going to raise the price today, and it won't affect anyone because it's not like you're changing anything on them, you know, because you haven't marketed that course yet. So you have to go by feel. You can look around you at what people are paying. Our courses are very interactive, whether it's a farm tour or our camp is more than a lot of farm camps, even though it's not the highest price one out there, because it's very interactive. There's nothing like our farm camp in the United States, I'm pretty sure. So that's more money. So do your research, and if your class is selling out every single time you do it and you have a wait list, then raise the price. You know, farmers are not rolling in billions of dollars or even millions. So you need, you know, we can afford to raise our prices. So if you have very high demand for something, raise your price. Okay, ticket cost. Red Hill Farm says, Hayden, happy birthday. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Okay, so Shauna says, I just had someone ask to teach a doTERRA oils class at my farm. Doesn't fit. No, it doesn't fit. And also, if they come in to teach the oils class, they're going to make money, and you're diluting your email list, which I know you know what I mean by that, Shauna. You're diluting, you know, people signed up to your email list for information about your farm, your raw milk, your grass-fed beef, and that's what they're used to getting from you. And then randomly, if you were to do it, they randomly got invited to a essential oils class. You would have some unsubscribes because it doesn't fit with your ideal customer that you identified for your farm. So that's why you need to be careful about off-site events. Oh yes, special insurance. Jerica and someone else asked about insurance. I have general farm liability policy, which I'm sure all of you do. When we do our farm camp for kids, I get extra insurance that week, and it's about $400 just for that farm camp just that week. And because we ride horses, we milk cows, you tell your insurance agent what all the activities they're doing, and then they give you a quote based on that. I've never had to use it, but it makes me feel really secure. And, you know, almost one kid's registration will pay for that insurance. So that security is really worth it. In my home, when I offer classes, I have a home business policy, and that was about $300 for the year. And that's for people coming in and out of your home taking a class. And I think, gosh, I probably didn't pay attention good of attention as I should have. I think it covers things like if they trip and fall in your home during a class, it will cover them for that. And then our general farm liability policy, I don't know exactly what all that covers, but I do not have extra insurance for farm tours. When we have people out to the farm, I don't have insurance. Someone asked about, can you just have a waiver up in, like you see in horse barns? So in a horse barn, there's a piece of paper hanging on the wall and it says, I don't even remember exactly but basically you're taking the risk by being here. I don't have extra insurance and I don't have that sort of waiver at our farm tours. So maybe that's something I should look into. But I feel more secure the more insurance I have. Some people don't need that, but I feel good about it. So for $300 a year, the home owner or the home-based business insurance was really worth it to me. And let's see. Jerica says, do you have any thoughts on including product in the cost of the event, effectively forcing a sale? Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to get into some strategies here. So product, maybe name a product, but if you were teaching how to butcher a chicken, then I would build in the cost of them taking home a fresh chicken too. So if our chickens average, 25, 30 bucks each. So if they were going to learn to butcher a chicken, I would have to build in the cost of that chicken that I would sell out of in my store if it wasn't there. So I need to get that 25 bucks out of the chicken, plus the cost for the expertise on butchering the chicken. We don't teach that class. I just use that as an example. So yes, include the cost. When we have a cheese making class, legally, I'm not allowed to send cheese home with them. But I made them eat it there. We had lots of cheese, but everybody was making cheese with a gallon of my milk. And in Oregon, our milk is very high priced. So I had to build in the cost of the milk into the cheese making class, or I'd go broke. It's not sustainable doing that. Here's another tip. If you can do this, not everybody can do this. We're right in wine country. We learned that if you give everyone a little sip of wine 30 minutes before the class is over, which we sell wine in our farm store, we can do that. They buy more stuff. So tomorrow is our last farm tour of the season, and it's called Bubbles and Boots Farm Tour. So they do the 2-hour farm tour, and then we end up at the farm store, and they're handed a little sip of one of our sparkling wines that we sell. We don't make wine. We sell local wineries' wines. And then they come in and they buy a lot more meat because they had that little sip of wine. So don't tell our customers we're doing that. But if you're able to, get a little wine in them beforehand or whatever, they will spend more on product. Let's see, I think that answered your question, Jerica, that yes, I absolutely build the cost of the product into the class. You've got to more than cover your costs. And your costs include, like I mentioned somewhere, we even have people come into our house, they're going to use the bathroom, they're going to use toilet paper. I had to clean the bathroom. Lots of times I had to hire someone to clean the house because I'm too busy on the farm before an event. So all of those costs and the wear and tear, we have to rock our driveway more often because we have hundreds more people driving in our driveway than if we were just on the farm. They're driving in for events, which means more rock, more tractor work. So all of those costs have to figure into your event costs or you won't be sustainable. Okay, yes, Shauna, they do love it. The wine, when we serve them wine, little taste of wine. People, when you build connection on them at the level we do at our events, they want to buy stuff from you. It's really, really good. So let me look at my notes that I made. And okay, so people have also asked, should we do events? Well, for us, the farm tours have been the least, we use the least resources for our farm tours and we get the most benefit. So tomorrow we have 16 people. I limit them to 15, but, because the last one was a couple, we have 16 people coming out. They spent $20 each for the ticket. Now, I could do it for free because they're going to spend money. I know I'm going to make money. But I don't because, and this gets into how do you make sure they show up. If they get an email with a PayPal tab in there and they sign up and it's non-refundable, it says that right there. And it's non-refundable because I stopped marketing it a month ago. So if someone says a week before the event, oh, sell my spot to someone else, I can't do that because I've moved on to my next event I'm marketing. So our ticket prices are non-refundable. Now, you may have to that may vary depending on the situation, but I don't get asked for refunds since we have that policy. People just don't ask. So they pay that $20, that reserves their spot. And then Anna, this kind of goes to what you were asking about people not filling in they're not ordering their vegetables from your CSA and you get tired of reminding them, and should you have to remind them? Well, people pay $20 for a farm tour. I want to make sure they show up because I don't care about that $20. What I care is most times when they show up, they're going to spend $100 or $500 or more dollars that day in the farm store. So tomorrow, 16 people have paid $20 each. That's not very much money relative to all our expenses on a farm. But the money they're going to spend in the store afterwards, after they've had that sip of bubbles, is huge, and we need that income. We rely on that. So my goal is to get them to show up, which means as soon as they sign up for the farm tour, they get a confirmation email that, hey, thanks so much for signing up for the farm tour. It's 4 weeks from now on this date at this time, and I will send you a confirmation Monday prior. So last Monday, they got an email that said, so excited to welcome you to our farm this Saturday. The tour is from 9 to 11. Please arrive 10 minutes early so you can get settled and use the facilities if you have to. And we do this rain or shine. And I make very clear the address. I bold our phone number because I need bodies at the farm tour in order to, and I closed registration, so I turned people down. So I need to make sure the people who signed up get there so that we meet our sales goals so I can pay my employees. It all, as you know, money comes in on a farm and it goes out even faster. So I send them several confirmations to make sure that they get to the farm tour, because then I know it's not only the farm tour, but it's now a customer for life, hopefully. So when I engage with them tomorrow, they'll come back over and over again. And the other thing is those emails are not a quick and dirty, hey, you signed up for a tour, be there at 9 o'clock, park here. It's not that at all. It's relationship building. It's, dear Joe, so excited to have you out to our farm tomorrow. I can't wait for you to see us milk the cows. I can't wait to answer your questions and let you in on our behind the scenes. Would love it if you could show up at 8:50 so you're ready to go. So it's it's an email full of connection. And you might think, well, I'm not that type of person. Well, in your email, if you become that type of person and you learn how to write that way, these can be so profitable. So a lot of our customer base has been built from our farm tours. That's one of the biggest money makers or ways of building customers we've had. Jerica says we have a farm tour tomorrow too. We do tours for free as a way to let customers screen us for a food source. It secures a lot of long-term folks' confidence in our products. Plus, we offer 10% off purchases to encourage purchasing. Have about 20 people signed up and confirmed. We require RSVP. So that's great. I can't see the rest of your comment. Okay, that's great, Jerica. We used to do them for free, but when it's free and they wake up tomorrow morning and it's raining or it's sunny and they decide I'm going to stay home because of the rain, or I'm going to stay home and do yard work, or someone invited them, I found that it was too easy for them to not show up. So I require people have some skin in the game. That's why I figured that $20 is enough. It's for a couple, that's $40. So they're going to show up for $40. But if I had only charged $5 or $10, they're willing to forego $5 or $10 to stay home and do yard work. So that became a problem. So I only as a suggestion that if you notice that you had 20 people sign up and only half of them show up, that's because they had no skin in the game. So every event we do, we charge something. Plus they they value what we do more. They respect our time. So just, there's some advice for the future. Shauna says, what about charging a registration fee and then offering a coupon for purchase that day for the same amount? Good question, Shauna. You could definitely do that, but what I found is, what did I do? I sold a cheese class and it included a $20 coupon towards purchase. So the very first class, I was like, wow, everybody's only charging or only buying $20 worth of stuff. So we made no money. So then what I did is I had the cheese class, and they got a $20 coupon towards purchase, because a lot of people would not, some of the people weren't purchasing, and I was trying to figure out how can I get more people to purchase. So then it became $20 off a minimum $50 or $100 purchase. So then finally, at least I'm making a little money. So yes, and there's really no reason to give the full amount back. Like $20 is not enough money for us. Plus they're getting more than $20. You and I as farmers, we need to value what we do more. So for them to pay $20 for a tour, there's no way I'm giving that back to them to spend in our farm store, because we worked hard to make that tour and I value what we did. So I don't think you need to give the whole amount back for product, but a coupon is definitely good. And then I like the idea of a coupon for a minimum purchase, So 15% off minimum purchase of $20. Because again, $20 is nothing, but it gets them buying something. Jerica found the same thing about the no-show thing. I always assume about 40% attrition. Okay, yes. So you've figured out how to make it work, but what you're missing out on, Jerica, is you're not getting those bodies there where you can engage with them and build customers for the future, which is fine if you want to keep doing that. But the $20 per person works for us because now I know I'm getting 100% of those people there tomorrow. And 100% of those people are going to be customers in the future. So I want those bodies there. Okay. I'm just checking the comments here, you guys, to see what else we can. Okay, I think I got all those comments. Let me see if I answered in here. We answered... Oh, Peggy Boone, can events be via video like the ones you do for our training? I mean, for people who are unable to make live events. I guess I'd need more specifics. We don't do a video, the events we do, I would maybe video a cheese class and put it on YouTube, but I wouldn't charge for it. So I don't know who would buy, if you're talking about profit, it's not something I'd be interested in doing, but I'm sure there's a way you could monetize everything, but I wouldn't do that. For our farm-related events. Shauna, thank you, and thanks for being here. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everyone's comments out there. And if you have any more questions, ask. I'm just following up to make sure. Bye, Jerica. Thank you. Let's see. So, and Celeste, I know you asked if it's unethical. And I just don't see how agritourism is unethical. Sure, in the way that we're talking here. Sure, there's a way it could be unethical, I suppose, if people had bad things in mind when they were planning it. But I think getting people out to the farm and showing them behind the scenes and charging money for it is great. So, yeah. Thank you, Seth and Rainey. I appreciate it. And... okay, I think I've covered all my things. Like I said, I'm going to put some of these notes into a blog post so you'll have it in writing too. But that's it for now. Wow, I talked for 43 minutes. I want these to be shorter, but there's so much information. So we can do more talks on these too. And yeah, we'll start a podcast soon and get some of this on there. And bye, everyone. We're going to go celebrate Hayden's birthday, and we should be able to talk to you next week. So I'm going to end this video. Bye-bye.